Okay, so welcome to our next session during Future Skills Week, which is Intermediate Excel Tips and Tricks. And we're delighted to have Patricia Hines from Train It in Dungannon along with us today. Patricia, I'm going to tell you a story. Years and years and years and years ago, Patricia put me through my advanced ECDL and helped me attain the CDL expert certificate. So she knows what she's talking about, and we're absolutely delighted to have her here to share just some really useful tips and tricks to make the best out of Excel. Patricia, you're very welcome. Are you happy for people to put questions in the chat? Do you
Yep,
want
absolutely.
and
Yep.
do you want me to just at natural points maybe put those to you, or do you want to wait to the end, or what way do you want to
No,
do it?
that's fine. I don't mind if you put them through, because if there's something that I'm touching on a range of different subjects here, or different tools within Excel. So if something triggers something off for somebody, just go ahead and just
Okay.
tell me at the time. Is that okay?
Fantastic. I will pass it over to you now. So
Thank you very
thank you
much,
very
Jackie.
much.
So, afternoon, everybody, and thanks a million, Jackie, for inviting me along to to do the session in Excel today. Basically, Excel would be my biggie in terms of business. It's the one that I actually teach most in business. I would also do a lot of skills assessment testing for employers as well. So, some of the things that I would do today, hopefully, if ever you're heading into the going applying for a job or doing a skills assessment testing, that you'll be able to answer a lot of the questions that will be put to you. So first things first, I'm going to do a couple of wee shortcuts here, okay? I'll just zoom up the screen just a wee bit so that you can all see. Now, very simple thing. You all know what the fill handle is, okay? You all know about copying sequence of numbers, dates, etc. So I'm going to do something a wee bit slightly different from your bog standard increasing or incrementing dates. Now, I'm going to use a shortcut to start off with to input the current date. So that's the control and the semicolon key. Hold the control key and press the semicolon key. That inputs a static system date, really useful. So if I go back in where I have today's date, if I use my fill handle to fill down, you'll notice that your fill handle increments the date by 1 day. Now that's fine for a lot of the time. Now one of the things I'm asked for every now and again, particularly from the likes of HR and different types of departments from business, they'll say to me, Patricia, how would you fill possibly weekdays and exclude weekends? Very, very simple, folks, really simple. So again, I'm going to go into a blank cell and I'm going to input today's date using the shortcut control and semicolon, press the enter key. I'll go back into the cell containing today's date. You all know what the fill handle is, the little thin cross at the bottom right of the cell where you want to copy data from. Now, instead of using my normal left mouse button, I'm going to use my right mouse button. So I'm holding the right mouse button and I'm dragging down and I'll just stop. Now, because I'm using the right mouse button, folks, okay, I get a menu here. So I get the option to say fill weekdays. So there I have Mondays to Fridays, no Saturdays and Sundays. Today is Wednesday, that's tomorrow's Thursday, Friday, and there's next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, etc., etc. Now again, with this in mind, the other thing I'm going to do is apply a custom number format on this date. So I'm going to highlight the entire column here, column F. I'm going to go to the Home tab and go into the number group here. Now, I'll click on the wee dialog launcher to bring up the format cells, and I'm going to go to the custom number format. Now, Excel, by inputting a date, defaults to basically this format here. Okay, the short date format. So it is DD/MM. DD stands for day, M for month, Y for year. So this is a very minimum of characters that you can input to view a date. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change that a wee bit because I want to prove to you that all these dates are basically weekdays and no weekends. So I'm going to highlight what's in the type box here. Now, I'm going to override what's currently in here. So what I want to see the day of the week in full, the date, the month, the year, all in full. So I'm going to type in 1, 2, 3, 4 days. There's my day of the week. Space. Now, I can't just say 4 days, 4 M's, because that would say to me Wednesday, March 2022. I still need a date. So I'm going to type in 2 days for the physical date, space. I'm going to do the month in full, which is 4 M's, space, and I want to see the year in full, 4 Y's. We'll work with 3 Y's, but we'll do 4 Y's. Look at the sample, Wednesday, 30th March 2022, and simply OK that. So I hope I've proved to you that those are all days of the week or weekdays and no weekends in sight. Now, just when I'm on shortcuts here, folks, okay? I've shown you the shortcut for inputting the static or current date. What I'm going to do, I'm going to show you the shortcut for inputting the static time. So if you're doing maybe a start time and an end time for something, Control Shift and semicolon will put in the system time. That's really useful in business or in other environments where you literally have to put a start time and an end time. So that's a useful wee shortcut. Now, the other thing I'm going to do in business, again, Excel is say I would do a lot of training in Excel to business. And one of the things that annoys the hell out of me, now you'll all go away today and you'll say that one's got OCD, but I just want to point out a couple of things. Right, so people have heading in and they'll have mobile numbers, they'll have telephone numbers, and we'll say sort code, etc. Okay, so they'll put in the mobile number. And as you know, when you put a zero in it into Excel, you lose that leading zero. So what people tend to do, they would go in, and a lot of people would go in, they do an apostrophe and they do an O to add the zero. Now I'm going to widen this column, deliberately widen the column to exaggerate it. Now you'll notice that my number is now to the left of the cell. So this has been treated as text. I don't want that, okay? I personally find that's very unprofessional. So I'm just going to double click back in the cell and I'm going to remove what I've just done there. Now, what I am going to do, I'm going to apply a custom number format. Now, I can do it 2 ways. So I'll highlight column J here again, go back to the number group, go to the wee dialog launcher, and again, I'm going back down to custom. Now, in the general box, now you have a list of preset custom number formats, but you also have a type box with the word general in there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do speech marks, 0 speech marks, followed by a hash. Now the hash is basically saying to Excel, look, there are numbers following this 0. So I'll simply OK that. So look, I now have a 0 preceding my mobile phone number. So if I put in another phone number here, okay, now that's one way of doing it. I'm going to show you another way, okay? And says you shouldn't be showing us two or three ways of doing things. Now that's fine for mobile phone numbers, okay? But what I will do here, okay, I'll go in, highlight the mobile number column again, go to my custom number group. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to basically format or display the format that I want my numbers displayed. Well, your mobile phone numbers have 11, basically 11 digits. So I'm going to use zeros to apply a formatting here. So if I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11 zeros. So that will make sure that the minimum number of digits there is 11. So if there's only 10 digits, it'll place a 0 in front of it. If there was only 9 digits, it would place 2 zeros in front. I'll just demonstrate again on another column how that works. So if I have the number 1 there, 2, 10, and 100. Right, let's say I want a column and the minimum number of digits that I want in that column is 3. So I'm going to highlight column N here, okay? Again, go back to the number group, click on the dialog launcher and go back down to custom. So what I'm going to do, simply say 1, 2, 3 zeros and okay that. So there I have my 001. And in the 10, I only have 10 in front of it. And any numbers or any digits where there's 3 or more, they won't have any zeros preceding. Folks, that's useful. And that's really what I've done here. Now, let's go in and apply this to the telephone number. So I'm going to do 02887729376 as my business number. Again, the 0 drops. So if I highlight the entire column here, go to the number group, click on the dialog launcher, go to custom, highlight the word general. Now, I'm going to be a fussy so-and-so here. So I'm going to do an open bracket here. I'm going to do 3 zeros, and that really is for my 0 to 8. Close the bracket. I'm going to do a space, and then for the rest of the number, I'm going to do 8 zeros. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And okay that. So look how my phone number is displayed. And again, if I add any more phone numbers in there, if I go 028, again, I'm just putting phone numbers. Right, for any of you that would be working in an environment where you were asked for, say, a supplier's bank details, they'll ask for, say, a sort code. Now, okay, sort code 6-digit number. Again, if I saw that in a spreadsheet, I would go, don't like that. So I will highlight the entire column, go to the number group, click on the dialog launcher again, custom, highlight the word general. So I want my sort code 2 digits, hyphen, 2 digits, hyphen, 2 digits. And okay that. So there I have my sort code. If I add another sort code, it's displayed in the format that I have applied there. Everybody happy enough with that? Now, I'm going to move
Everybody,
on.
everybody is giving you big thumbs up. Patricia,
Oh,
they're loving these tips. I'm
oh,
loving these
good.
tips. There's things that I've
Oh,
forgotten about, and I'm an Excel
brilliant.
trainer,
Brilliant. Thank
so
you
this
so
is
much.
brilliant. So
Really appreciate this.
fantastic.
Right, folks, I'm going to move to the next sheet over. Now, this sheet, and again, this is something that happens in business all the time, okay? Now, this can be a spreadsheet. Where maybe I call it the Joblog Syndrome, where Joe Blogs goes in and puts a blank row at the bottom of each of its I suppose area of data, or it could be in a lot of cases when you're doing a report from another system, a bespoke system, you will get blank rows sometimes. Now this can be a pain in the ass. You could spend ages doing this. Now again, I'm going to show you a tip, trick, shortcut way of doing this. So what I'm going to do here, now I know I have totals here and I basically have subtotals for each area or for each date. I really don't need that because I can pull in a pivot table and it'll do that for me. So I don't need it. So I'm going to highlight column A here. I want to remove all those blank rows. Now the shortcut, folks, press the F5 key. The F5 key will bring up the little go to box. Click on the word special, and down at the bottom of the special window, you have the option for blanks here. And I simply OK that. So that has highlighted any blanks that I have in my data range. It doesn't highlight any other blank cells where there's no data, no issue. So all I have to do here is right click, go to delete. Now, I want to delete the whole row, but let's say I didn't want to delete the whole row. I just wanted to remove the blanks from column A. I can say shift cells up, but in this case, I can say delete entire row and simply OK that. Hey presto, folks, you get your data with all the rows removed. That's a really useful tip, folks. Now, I'm going to move on. I know I'm going to cover quite a bit in this wee session here, okay? But it's all useful stuff. The next thing I'm going to do, what I will say, God bless the man or woman that invented this. This is called flash fill. Flash fill saves me so much time, and I'm going to show you how it works here. So what I have here in column A, I have a list of names, and I have the first and surname and each name in one cell. Now, let's say my manager comes to me and says, Patricia, will you sort that list in alphabetical order by name? Now, some people say, look, go and use data and text import wizard. But there's a whole lot more that flash fill does that the text import or text delimited doesn't do. So I'm going to introduce you to this. Now, one of the questions I'm always asked, have you turned flash fill on? Have you done anything fancy? I have done nothing fancy to my data, literally made it look better for the purpose of demonstration. So what I'm going to do here, I'm clicking in cell B1, I'm going to type my first name. Don't use your mouse. Press the enter key. Now, watch what happens when I type the first letter of the next guy's name. You'll see a preview of everybody's name. Welcome to Flash Fill, and this is not even the best part of it. I get excited about this because I love it. Press the enter key and the names will populate. Right, let's do the same thing here for the surname. So again, I'm going to put my surname in there, Hines. Press the enter key. I'm putting the first letter of the next guy's name. Watch how it populates. Press the enter key. Now, this is really, really good. Now, I will show you one wee thing that happens. People are doing flash fill and they maybe see a wee preview and they think, oh, what's happening there? And they start typing. When you type when flash fill is displayed, it clears your flash fill. So you sort of think, oh, where'd that go? Why did that not work for me? No hassle, folks. What you do is you highlight where you want your flash fill to go. The shortcut for forcing your flash fill is Control and the letter E. So that's a shortcut for forcing the flash fill. Right, so let's go to the next column here, okay? Now, I'm going to use people's initials. So I'm going to do capital P, capital H, flash fill, Control and E, okay? So I'll do the next one, M for Mark. Press the Enter key. Watch how all the initials come in automatically. Now, the next column over, I'll reverse the names. I'll do the surname first, followed by the first name. So I'll do Hines space, Patricia, Enter, J for Jones, Enter. Next column over, I'll do surname, comma, and first name. So it's Hines, comma, space, Patricia. You're setting the pattern, folks. Press the Enter key, J for Jones, and Enter. The last column, I'll put everything in uppercase. So I'm simply going to say Patricia Hines and M. Jones. Now, I'm not finished yet. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to insert a new column to the right of column A. So I'm going to right click on column B and I'm going to go to insert. I'm going to put a new heading in here called email. Now, this is one that I use on a regular basis. There's a few of my clients would be the likes of as I say, the university who would have a large number of employees. And there's times when I'll get a list of employees that are coming to do online training. But what they forget to do, they forget to send me the email. So the email addresses, so I have to populate the email addresses automatically. So I use Flashfill to do this. It's brilliant. Right, so I'm going to say Patricia dot Hines, and we'll say everybody works in train. It doesn't matter what we use for the end, just to demonstrate. So I'm going to say at trainit.co.uk, press the enter key, M for Mark, press the enter key. Watch how all the email addresses are populated automatically. That saves me so much time, folks. Now, I'm moving on to the next sheet, which I have called table. Now, here we have a simple spreadsheet here, okay, with a list of dates, salesman, different regions, different products, quantity sold, nets. So I want to calculate the VAT and I want to calculate the total. Now, so I'm in cell G2 here. I'm going to do equal. I'm going to click in the cell containing the first net figure multiply by, and I'm going to type in the VAT rate. Now, I'm a lazy cow. I'm not typing in 20%. I'm going to do 0.2. Press the enter key. Now, I have to use the fill handle, okay, to copy that formula down. Now, when you get to my age, every second counts. So by using the fill handle here, I can double click with the fill handle and that will copy the formula down. But it still is an extra second that I have lost that I look it back in my life. Now, let's go to the total column. So I'm going to do equal first net figure plus first VAT figure. Press the enter key, go back in again as 2 seconds of lost. Okay, life's short enough. I don't want to have to do that all the time. Thank God I have gone in and learned all about creating a table in Excel. You will absolutely love this. It has so many advantages. Okay, now I'm going to do Control and Z just to undo, Control and Z, Control and Z, Control and Z, just to remove the VAT and the total. Right, folks. So I have my table here. I'm going to click inside my table, or sorry, my data. I haven't got a table yet. We will have. Click anywhere at all inside the data. You don't have to highlight. Actually, before I do highlight, or before I do this, another wee shortcut's coming to mind. So let's say I have a table or a range of data and I want to select it all, okay, highlight it, maybe to copy it, to bring it somewhere else. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hold the control key and press the asterisk on the number keypad on the right hand side here. That's a quick way of selecting your entire data range. Really useful. Now that's the control and the asterisk on the number keypad. For those of you that are using a laptop that don't have a number keypad on the right hand side, you hold down Control Shift and use the asterisk above the number 8 at the top of the keyboard. Again, I go off on a tangent. Another wee shortcut is just coming to mind here. Right, so say I have a list of data and I want to highlight the data. It could be within a formula. Now, I'm in cell F2 here. So if I want to highlight all the data in that range from that point to the last numeric or last number in that range, Control Shift and one gentle press of the down arrow, that will select everything from top to bottom. Now, again, if I want to go back up again, Control Shift and use the up arrow. That's useful, folks, if you're doing, as I say, within a formula. Now, I'm clicking anywhere at all within my data here. I'm going to go to Insert. I'm going to go to Table. Now, I get a little Create Table dialog box up here, and I get my range of data in. You'll also notice a little tick where it says my table has headers, and OK that. Now, actually, I'm going to cancel that a wee second because I want to demonstrate something else before I do. As you can tell, I keep going off on tangents, but there's a reason for it. Now, see my headings here. As I scroll down my page, you'll notice that my headings disappear. Now, that's standard. Now, I don't want to have to go in and do my freeze panes. And we'll look at freeze panes in a wee while. So again, click in the data, go to Insert, go to Table, and simply OK that. Now, watch my headings, folks. Click anywhere at all within your data. Watch as I scroll down. Do you notice that you no longer have A, B, C, D, E? All your column headings have moved up to be the headers. That is really useful, folks. Right, so that's one advantage of formatting or applying a table within Excel. Another advantage is you get what's called banded rows. So you have coloured rows which help guide your eye across the page if you have a fairly big spreadsheet. And you have to say it definitely looks more attractive than it did a minute ago. You also have the filter arrows applied automatically at the top of each column. Again, another advantage. Now, I'm going to go in and I'm going to calculate the VAT now that my data has been formatted as a table. So if I do equal, now, one of the things I will say, folks, don't be typing a cell reference in when you're doing a formula. Click in the cell. And the reason I always say that is because I have seen so many people making a complete balls of a spreadsheet where they're going with their finger down, going, oh, is that cell X, Y, blah, blah. And they're picking the wrong or going to type the wrong cell. If you click on the cell, you are less likely to get the wrong cell. So I would strongly recommend always clicking the cell rather than typing the cell reference in. And it's important when you have a table to do this. So I'm going to click in the first net, in the cell containing the first net figure. Now notice I didn't get the F2, the cell reference F2. I got a name, and that's because the table is a dynamic range now. So I'm going to say multiply by, and again, I'm going to put the VAT rate in there. So I'm going to say 0.2 and I'm going to press the enter key. I'm too old for this shit where you have to pull down the fill handle all the time. Your table does this for you. It's brilliant. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to calculate the total. So I'll do equal net
Oh,
plus
Jesus.
VAT. Sorry, folks. Apologies if I've offended anybody. And
There's a couple of people maybe just need to mute themselves. Just check.
Oh.
You're not on mute.
sorry, apologies if I
No,
if I
no, no,
I just
no,
don't.
no. People, no. Everybody's enjoying it, Patricia.
Okay.
Honestly listen. You fire away. This is good. Good
Okay.
stuff.
So, as I say, this is your table. Your formulas populate automatically. Absolutely brilliant. Okay. Now, that's another advantage of using the table. Now, let's go for another advantage. That's not enough. We need more. Okay. Now, I'm in cell H2 here, so I want to scroll to the very bottom of my data here. Hold the control key and one gentle press of the down arrow. Use that where you want to navigate, where you don't want to highlight. That okay? So there's the end of my table. It's down at row 1080. Right. So what I want now, I want to apply a total in my total column, an overall total. And I want to have it in such a way that if I filter any of my data, that I'll always get a subtotal. So when you add something into the likes of any of the office applications, whether it be Excel, whether it be Word, whether it be PowerPoint, etc., you get your on-demand tabs, your contextual tabs that will always appear at the right or at the very end of your ribbon. So we're using 365, okay? So the tab is called Table Design. That's the tab if I want to do anything to this table, I go into. Now, notice you have a little group there called Table Style Options. There's a little tick box there called Total Row. So I'm going to put a wee tick in that box. Watch what happens. Now, my hash should simply mean I need to widen my column and go up between your two column headings and double click. You don't need to drag. So that gives me an overall total. So if I go into any column and I apply a filter, that will update with just the subtotal for whatever I filter by. Really, really useful. Now, give me a thumbs up if you like the table, if you like the fact that you were using the tables. If you don't, give me a thumbs down. I love them. And I'm not finished yet. We have more advantages, okay, with using the table. Now, brilliant. I love it. Really, I have to say I do. And it saves so much time. Now, what I can apply with the table here as well, I can apply what's called slicers. Now, slicers are a more visual way of filtering your data. So that's what we're going to do next. Now, your slicers will only work if you have your data formatted as a table or a pivot table, which I haven't done yet, but I will do. So I'm going to use slicers. So click anywhere at all within our data. Again, I'm doing everything from the very last tab here, the contextual tab, the table design. Here you have your insert slicer command. So I'm going to click on that. I get a little drop down with all my slicer headings. So these are basically all the headings that I have in my table. So I'm going to ask myself, what might I want to filter by? Well, I might want to filter by a salesman, by region, by product. We'll take 3 and OK that. Now, there's my 3 slicers. I'm just separating them so I can see them a wee bit better. Okay. Now, folks, I would strongly recommend if you are doing slicers, make sure you're scroll to the top of your document, because if you do a slicer and you're halfway down and go to do a slice, you say, where did my slicer go? They're at the very bottom of your page. So always make sure that you're at the top of your data before you do this. Now, I'm going to filter my table using slicers. So I want to see data for Niall, for Dungannon, because it's the best town in Northern Ireland, and I want to see tiles. So there I have my table, Niall, Dungannon, tiles. Dashboards, exactly. Yeah, and I'm going to do that. I'll show you an example. Somebody's asked about a dashboard, but they're useful for using for a more visual, a more interactive way of filtering a table. So basically, that's your slicers. Now, if you want to say I have 3 slicers here, what I would tend to do, I would have the slicers 3 different colors. So if you click on your slicer, again, there's your on-demand tab. That's going to allow me, there's my slicer tab. That's going to allow me to apply formatting to my slicers. So here I have slicer settings. So I'm going to choose a color, 1 color, 2 color. So I have, thank you, another Ghana moment, thank you. So I have 3 slicers, 3 different colors. So that's really useful. Now, at the top of each slicer, you have your clear filter button, your wee red X. So if I click on that, that clears. You see, it brings everybody back again and again. So that's using your slicer. Do you like those? Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete the slicers. So if I click anywhere at all on the slicer and I'm going to delete, click, delete. Now, I'm still raving on about the advantages of this table thing. I'm not finished. Okay, so if we click within our table, again, let's go back to table design. Right, I want to summarize this table. So I'm going to create a pivot table. So without me actually going in to my data, going to insert and pivot table, because this is a table, I can do this within the table design tab. So here you have the option for summarize with pivot table. So I'm going to click on that. Notice I have a table there. Notice I don't get a range of data. It doesn't say A1 to whatever, 1080. It gives me a name. That's a dynamic range. That's what happens when you apply a table. So I have 2 choices. Where do I want to put this pivot table? Now, some of you are sitting there and say, what is a pivot table? A pivot table is a way of summarizing and analyzing the data, particularly when you have a large amount of data. Now, quite a lot of the time when you have, if you want to do a pivot table, you're working from quite a big spreadsheet with quite a lot of data on it. So that's why it defaults to a new worksheet, because a lot of the time you don't have room for a pivot table in the existing worksheet. You can choose to put your pivot table in the existing worksheet if you have room for it. So if you choose existing worksheet, you get your cursor in the location box, and then you would just go and select a cell where you want your pivot table to go to. I'm going to put it into a new worksheet because when I'm doing pivot tables, I can't not do pivot charts. So let's say new worksheet and okay that. Now, so what we have here, I haven't lost my original data. There it is there. Okay, so it has created a brand new sheet directly in front of my original data. And this sheet will allow me to summarize the data. Now, what I have on the right hand side here, I have the pivot table field area, and I have a list of all the different headings that I have within the data on the previous page or in the next page. Now, I know I don't have a big pile of headings here, but just to demonstrate what a pivot table is, and again, just showing you that it is another advantage where you have a table. So I want to see a gross of sales for all my salesmen. So I'm going to put a wee tick in the box where it says salesman. And I'm going to put a wee tick in the box where it says net. So Excel has automatically put salesman down where it says rows. And because net has numeric data in it, it has placed it into the values area. Now, watch what I have here in columns A and B. That's a breakdown of all my data. Now, I know this is all very uniform. It's only dummy data, and as I say, it's just to demonstrate. So, but that is a breakdown of this here. So it's gone in and taken all the salesmen and has broken down, taken all the sales figure. So happy days, that's good. So what else can I do from this? Well, let's say I'm doing an evaluation or sort of sale, look, who maybe which sales guy got the biggest sales. And not only do I want to see the numeric side of this, I want to see a percentage to see what percentage they got. Now, we're cheating a wee bit here, but I love cheating. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to drag net again downward says values. So I have it down here twice, and you're looking here and saying, so what? You've got two columns, same thing, but that's only to work on something here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to right click on the second column of sales figures, and I'm going to say, look, show value as, and I'm going to say, show me the percentage of the grand total. So there I have the monetary value of the sales plus the percentage for each sales guy. That is really, really good. Now, I'll show you another thing, okay? Now, I don't normally tell people like this. It's only I'm letting you into the secret. I don't normally, I charge a lot for it normally in business, okay? So people do this the long way. So I'm going to drag this second net away again, okay? Now, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to add the month field. So again, if I put a wee tick in the box where it says month, now from Excel 2016 onwards, Excel groups all the dates by month, quarters and years automatically. If any of you are sitting using 2013 or anything, you won't get this. You would have to physically group them. But from 2016 onwards, it literally applies this. That okay? Now, what I'm going to do here, okay, I'm going to go in and I'm going to say to Excel, right, show me whether these sales figures have increased or decreased from the previous period. Now, I have seen people sit and do this and work ages on it. The bloody pivot table will do it for you. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to right click here and I'm going to go to show value as, and I'm going to go down to um, percentage difference from, okay? Now it says base field, you can choose whatever you want. I'm going to keep it at years. And base item, I want to say from the previous period. And okay that. So there I get that the first guy, Mark, his sales figure has gone up 10.3% from 2017, but it's gone down 56.56 from 2018. Folks, that is a really, really useful thing to do within Excel and within a pivot table. A lot of people don't realise you can do that.
I
Now,
think I'm just going to say actually,
apologies,
no,
Jackie.
no, 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 you're okay, Patricia, because you're rattling through this and it is
I know.
brilliant. But I'm actually going to say that particular thing that you've just shown there now, that's really, really good. Not just for business, but for any of you students who are doing anything to do with analytics or analyzing
Yeah,
data or anything within science or biomed or engineering or anything like that. I think that's going to be really, really useful to you to show
brilliant.
those changes. So well done.
Brilliant. No, that's good to know. So it is. Now, to get rid of this percentage, if I want the values back again, all you do is right click, show value as, and then go to no calculation. Because if you remove anything, you'll end up with NAs and hashes there, which you don't want. So to remove it, show value as and say no calculation. So there I get my values back again. Now, what I'm going to do, I am going to remove my dates in here a wee second. So I'll remove the tick where it says month, but you'll notice that years and quarters have remain. So I'm just going to physically drag those up. I want rid of them for the minute, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add another field to my pivot table. So here I have the sales guys, I have their sales figures, and I want to bring in, say, the region. So if I put a wee tick where it says region, now again, Excel is a habit of putting, 2 or 3 different fields in the one area here. I don't want that. I don't like that. Like you're saying, how do you know what to put where? Well, I don't like the look of that. That's why I'm going to change it. So I'm going to drag region where it says columns. So that looks a wee bit better to me personally. Maybe you preferred it the other way, but to me, that looks just that wee bit better. Now, so now that I have a pivot table, I'm going to do a pivot chart. So again, click anywhere at all within your pivot table. Here's my on-demand tabs at the very end, my pivot table analyze and my design. So from the pivot table analyze, there's your pivot chart. So I'm going to click on that. And let's say I want a bar chart. I'll not go for the default column. And I'll OK that. So again, that's my breakdown from my pivot table. Now, I'm going to make a few changes to this. And the other thing I will say, somebody put a message up a while ago about dashboards. Dashboards are simply a combination of pivot tables and pivot charts. That's all they are. They look really impressive, but they are very, very easy to use, very, very easy to do, and really do look very impressive. So let's make a few changes. Folks, I apologize if I'm talking quite quickly. I want to try and get through as much as I possibly can so you can all benefit from these things that I am teaching to business. So we've got our pivot chart here, okay? Now, when you click on your chart, you get a little plus sign to the right of the chart, which is basically chart elements, okay? So if I click on the chart element here, okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a few changes. I'm going to go and you see where it says axes and you get a little arrow. So if I click on that little arrow, I'm going to remove the tick where it says primary axes. Now, that removes my figures at the bottom, but that's fine because what I am going to add, I'm going to add data labels, which tells me the value of each of the bars. So I don't need that axis at the bottom. Now, what else do I need? I'm going to put a chart title in, okay? And I'll call this uh, regional sales, okay? Regional sales. Right, now I'll drag it down a wee bit and I'll resize it. Now I'm not finished yet. You're going to be sick listening to me. So I'll move that over. Okay, so there I have my bar chart. Now, with every pivot chart, you'll get your little field buttons. So Summonet, Salesman and Region. I don't need them. I don't want them. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to say hide all field buttons. So again, just leaves a wee bit more room. Now, I don't want my lines either. So again, I'm going to go to my chart element and I'm going to remove my grid lines. Now, I'm going to cheat a wee bit here and I'm going to pull my chart title to the left hand side. So for those of you that are maybe doing as I say, dashboards or attempting to use dashboards for some of your coursework, this is simply how you do it. So we use slicers in the last example in the table to filter the table. I'm going to use a slicer in this chart. So I am going to say, right, okay, let's apply a product slicer. So I want to see all the data by product. So I am simply going to right click on the word product and I'm going to say add a slicer. So there I get my slicer. But what I want to do with that slicer, I want to put it up here. So I'm going to click on my slicer. There's my on-demand tab for my slicer. So I will click there. The number of columns, I am going to bring that up to 3 columns and I'm going to resize my slicer. You all get the gist of what I'm doing here. Now the heading there, I don't need that heading either. It's quite obvious what those are. Right click on the slicer, go to slicer settings and remove the tick where it says display header and OK that. And again, I'll tidy it up a wee bit. and I will drag, whoops, try dragging the right thing, Control Z, undo, and I'll drag my slicer up. So if I want to say, that is really what a dashboard is, folks. Okay, combination of this and this. So that's your pivot chart and your, as I say, your slicers on it. All happy enough? Now,
Yep, brilliant. There's just one wee question
yes, of
here
course.
from Subham, and it says, can you please explain how to, now if this doesn't fit with what you're doing or you want to leave it to the end, that's fine. Can you please explain how to remove the outliers from the raw data?
What are we talking about here? Sorry,
I'm not sure.
is it from here? Are you talking about removing the table and bringing it back to a range? No.
Subham, do you want to just turn your mic on and just explain
Yes, please do.
what your question, what do you mean?
Hi, Patricia. I'm sorry to
Hi,
disturb you in
yeah,
the
you're
between.
quite all right.
Actually, I'm studying data analytics, and sometimes we get raw data like a huge set of data, so in which we find sometimes of outliers which we want to remove to create the dashboard. Sometimes there are some data which we don't want.
Yeah,
Uh,
what you're safer doing, and again, it's not something I'm going to be doing today, but
okay.
what you should do is what's called a Power Query.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, you go into Power Query, which literally you get from your data tab, and go and say where you want to get your data from, whether it's from another system, and you basically tidy your data up in Power Query, and then you load back into Excel.
yeah, exactly.
Is that okay?
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
So
Thanks,
I don't know,
Subham, for your
Jackie, maybe at
question.
some stage there'll be an opportunity to do something like that down the line. Um,
Yeah, no,
but
I
it's
think that
it's
would be good.
completely a separate topic, so it
All right.
is.
It
Thank you.
is.
Thank you.
So no
Thanks,
problem at
Subham.
all. Right, now, what I have here, okay, I have a list of products here and I have prices. And with all the increase in your fuel charge and all the rest, this company is saying, right, okay, we need to increase our prices. We need to increase our prices to cover all these rising costs, and we need to increase them by 20%. Now, I have a price list here. I don't want to do a separate column here. I want to increase the prices that I have in column C. So what I'm going to use, believe it or not, is pay special to do this. So it's just giving you an alternative to pay special that we all use on a daily basis. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to type a figure in column E here. So I'm typing in 1.2. So the 1.2 is basically your 120%. So it's the existing 100% price with 20% on top of it. So right click on the 1.2 and choose copy. I'm going to click in the first price. This is where my shortcuts come in. Control Shift down arrow to highlight everything. Right click and paste special. I always like to click on the actual words paste special so I can go in and see exactly what I'm doing here. Now, under the heading operation, I'm going to choose multiply and okay that. That has increased those prices by 20%. Now, all I'm going to do here from my home tab, from the number group, I'm going to click on the wee stash of gold coins here. That'll format my numbers to currency again. And if I want to change the formatting, I can. A lot of people don't realise you can do that using paste special. Now, if I go in and delete that 1.2, it doesn't affect my data. So that is really, really useful, folks. And again, a lot of people don't realise that. Now, again, a very quick thing when I'm talking about paste special here. So let's say I have a list of product codes, okay? I'm just going to copy a few of these just to demonstrate another paste special. So I'll copy that and I'll go over to any cell, say column or cell I1, right click paste special, and I'm going to transpose those. And okay, so that's basically changing your row to column headings. Now, I need to widen all these columns. So I'm not going to manually drag or double click. I'm going to click on the wee triangle to the left of A and above one. And then if I double click between any two column headings, that will auto fit all your columns in one go. Okay, so again, that's just using another paste special. There's a number of other paste specials that you can use. Right, moving swiftly along, and I apologise for the speed that I'm going at, but I want to try and cover as much as I possibly can.
You're
Um,
okay, Patricia. You're
is
all right.
that okay? Right. What I have here, and again, this is something that is used in business an awful lot, where something is date driven. Now, the example I have here is where a company has to do mandatory training. So they maybe have first aid, manual handling, stuff like that. And the training has to be renewed for their insurance purposes every 3 years. Now, if you have a large organisation, the likes of the university there, which is hundreds of staff, and let's say there's mandatory training that has to be done. Now, the other example is in a different industry, is where you have a fleet of vehicles. And every year, the vehicles have to be PSV'd, they have to be taxed, you have to do insurance, and it's very hard to keep an eye on things. So, what we can do, we can apply conditional formatting to flag up dates for us. So I'm going to be using conditional formatting here. Conditional formatting, now again, I go into business and you'll always get Joblog sitting doing this. Manually going into his paint pot and flagging things up. Waste of time. Okay, so we're going to show you how to do conditional formatting the quick way. Now, I hope you all know what I'm talking about when I talk about an absolute or a mixed cell reference. Should I give a quick demonstration of what this is, maybe?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know that everybody would know what you mean by
yes, I
absolute
will.
cell
I
references.
will.
Yeah,
I will indeed.
awesome. Thank you.
So what I'm going to do here, okay, I'm in a separate column here, so I'm going to type 1,000 and I'll type 2,000. I'll highlight both those figures. I'll use my fill handle fill down just to put in the sequence. Now, I'm going to put in a separate cell 20%. Now, in column T here, I want to multiply each of these figures by the percentage that I have in cell V1. So I'm going to do equal, I'll do it the wrong way first, you see why it's wrong, equal S1 multiplied by V1. Now I'm going to press the enter key, I'm going to go back in and I'm going to use the fill handle. So I get a pile of zeros, so we know this is wrong. And again, another shortcut, folks. Right, everybody has spreadsheets. When you go into business and yourselves or whatever, and you will find that you will inherit a spreadsheet, or maybe somebody's give you an example of spreadsheet and you're looking at it and say, what the hell, or where the hell did they get the formulas from? So the first thing I will ever do if I go into business is to display the formulas. Now, if you look at your keyboards for 1 wee second, the key to the left of one at the top of the keyboard below the escape key is your grave accent key. I have renamed that. I call it the toggle key. Hold down the control key and then one gentle press of that toggle key. And what happens here is that displays any formulas that you have within that worksheet. That is really important, folks, particularly if you've inherited a spreadsheet by somebody else. Now, in this example here, Excel is using the default what's called relative cell reference. So if you notice, it's moving down a cell in both parts of the formula. Now, in this column here, we want to use that 20% that's currently in cell V1, but it's moving down to V2, V3, V4, etc. I want to fix that cell reference within the formula. Now, to hide the formulas, it's exactly the same shortcut, control and toggle. Doesn't matter if you've anything highlighted or not, it works exactly the same. So we're going to go in, we're going to fix this formula. So I'll do equal S1. Now S1, there's nothing wrong with it. Yes, that's the control and toggle. S1, and then we're going to say multiply by, and I'm going to click in cell V1. Now, we don't want V1 to change. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to press the F4 key. Whenever you click on the cell that you want to fix or make absolute, the shortcut for fixing that cell is the F4 key. Notice the dollar sign before the V and the dollar sign before the 1. That means column V is fixed and row 1 is fixed. So that one cell is fixed. So that's what I want in this case. press the enter key, go back in, fill down. Now again, if I display my formulas, just so you can see, notice in the second part of the formula, each of the figures in column S has been multiplied by the cell V2. Again, I'll just hide the formulas. Now, again, if I do equal S1 multiplied by, and if I click on V1, I've told you to press the F4 key. Now, if I only want to fix, say, a row, like row 1, I'll press the F4 key again. So my dollar sign is before the 1. So that means row 1's fixed, but column V is not. Now, if I press F4 again, my dollar sign moves before the column letter. So it means column V is fixed. And if I press it again, it cancels. It takes it back to a relevant cell reference. So that's what we're going to do here using this conditional formatting. Now, I'm going to use I promise this will be the last thing I do. I'm going to use the today function in this conditional formatting. Now, what does the today function do? So I'm going to type in equal TODAY, open bracket, close bracket. That's all that's needed for this function. So that'll input today's date, but not just today's date, it'll input the current date. So if I want to calculate, say, somebody's date of birth, I will use this function because somebody that's maybe 29 at the end of this week will be 28 today. But if you open the spreadsheet next week, if we use the today function, it'll show you their current or their proper age. So let's go and show you this. Now, folks, I guarantee, hold on, when you get this copy of work files, hold on to this wee one. This is a really useful, if any of you go into business, you'll use this at some stage. So I'm going to highlight all my data, control and asterisk to highlight all my data. So I'm going to set 3 rules here. I'm basically highlighting or flagging up renewal dates here. So the training date is in column C. So the renewal dates are 3 years later and it's based on today's date. So the first rule I'm going to say, if anything is before today, the training has expired, we should have updated it. The second rule, we're saying if the date is between today and up to 60 days, we need to keep an eye on it. So it's going to be amber. And then the third one is basically if it's today and more than 60 days, we don't need to worry about it for now. It's going to be green. So we'll do these 3 rules. So conditional formatting, I tend to use new rule, use a formula to determine which cells to format, click in the format values box. Now, I'm going to be testing column D here. So always select the first cell in the column that you're testing. So I'm going to click in cell D1. Notice my dollar signs. So at the minute, that one cell is fixed, which is no use to me. I want to test the whole of column D. So I need to make sure there's no dollar sign before row 1 because I need to move to row 2 to row 3, etc. So I'm going to press the F4 key twice. So my dollar sign is simply before D. That's where I want it. So I'm going to say if D1 is less than, your less than symbol, which means before, today, open bracket, close bracket, format, fill, red, okay. Okay, so those are the ones that have expired. Those are the ones that I should have organised training, renewal of training for. So let's do the second one. Conditional formatting, new rule, use a formula to determine. Now, because I'm doing between 2 dates, I need to use the AND function as well. So I'm going to do equal AND, open bracket. Again, I'm going to select D1, press the F4 key twice, and this time I'm going to say if it's after today, which is a greater than symbol, today, open brackets, close bracket, comma, again, D1, F4, F4, less than equal today, open bracket, close bracket, plus 60, close bracket, format, and we'll choose amber, I suppose should go down here, and okay, and okay. And the final one will be the green one that I don't need to worry about. So new rule, use a formula, click in the format values box, click in cell D1, again F4, F4. I'm going to say minus today, open bracket, close bracket, greater than 60, format, green, okay, okay. Now, this is all based on today's date. Now, something that's sitting at green, if I open this file a week from now, it may have changed to amber, and something that's sitting at amber may have gone red. Folks, I'm sorry, I've run 2 minutes over time. Apologies.
You're all right. That was absolutely brilliant. I mean, really, really, really good. I mean, I'm an Excel trainer too, but I learned a few things because there's
Yeah,
so many. But as you know, there are
yeah,
just Excel's a
yeah,
monster.
yeah,
It's a
yeah,
complete
yeah,
monster. There's so
yeah,
many things and there's so
yeah,
many updates.
yeah.
Um, Listen, I know you're taking the next session, and
Mhm.
I want to allow you to get a cuppa, and and I want to allow all
Don't
the
worry.
students and all the people who want to come to your next session in Office 365 at 3 o'clock to take a wee break as well and go and grab a wee cuppa. So what we will do is we will maybe just close listen, they're loving you. You have some real big fans
Thank you
here
so much.
today. Brilliant woman. You're amazing. You're getting hearts. You're getting everything. So yeah, and I mean
Thank you
I
so much. I'm really embarrassed.
no,
And
don't be embarrassed.
thank you, Jackie. I really appreciate getting the opportunity to do this. And I'm sorry that it's been so fast. But I get so excited about Excel,
Me
and I get
too.
so excited to show people things that are really useful.
Mm.
If you get an opportunity at some stage, maybe do a full session, do you get the full benefit from it? But
Exactly.
it's been
No, listen,
brilliant.
it's been fantastic. And guys, just to remind you that you can get I think I put it further up in the chat, but I'll do it again here. You can watch back
Hmm.
Patricia's session because there was a lot in it. So I
Yeah.
think you'll probably want to watch it back again. And then it means you can pause and play. So you can kind of Patricia, as they're watching your video and you'll be teaching that tip, then they can pause it, try it out in an Excel spreadsheet for yourself, and then go back in and play the next tip. But just go to the Skills Week website tomorrow, and Patricia's sessions will be uploaded, and you can watch them there. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Careers at Ulster, and all the sessions from this week will be there for you to view. Um, Office 365 is coming up now at 3 o'clock with Patricia again. Dear love you, go and get a cup of tea. I'm going to go and get a quick one now.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow is, I'm just going to share this really, really quickly with you guys. So tomorrow is all things, where are we? Starting at slides. So tomorrow is all things leadership, resilience, CV boosting, leadership skills, and that one there on bouncing back with Katie Matthews is phenomenal. She's a phenomenal girl. She does all this stuff about mindset and how not to let failure and overcoming resilience and all that kind of stuff. So if you're enjoying these sessions, guys, check out those ones tomorrow as well. But if not, we'll see you in about 10 minutes. Um, Thank you very much, Patricia. Do you want to stop the
Thanks,
recording?
folks. Yep.
And I'll see you in about 10 minutes time.
Brilliant. Thanks, folks. Thanks for putting up with me.